Daniel
Del Aguila.
Yes. Who is the co-founder of ProdecoTech, a electric bicycle manufacturer located in Florida.
Yes.
And the thing that's unusual about the company is that where most manufacturers basically have their manufacturing offshore, in the case of ProdecoTech, they actually manufacture their bicycles here in the United States. So, Daniel, first of all, thank you for taking the time with us today. Let's talk. Give our viewers, in this case, a little bit of a background on the company ProdecoTech. How'd you guys come about, and where are you today?
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the time. Well, we've been in business since 2007. We came from the electronic side of the business. We're not bike guys. We weren't bike guys, and now we are. So from 2007 to 2010, we were importing bikes like everybody else, trying to do our own designs based on designs that they were already done in Asia and basically in China. We found that it was a very difficult process to do. The quality control was not up to what we expected if we thought that e-bikes could be a hit in the United States. So we decided to bring the manufacturing back to the US to be able to control that quality control, and also to change on the spot whenever we found a mistake or a problem with the design. So starting in 2010 was our first release of bikes built here in the US.
Okay, so how much of, I mean, obviously there are lots of parts that go into these things.
Yes.
Wheels and rims and seats, and in the case of electric, batteries and things like that. So how much, so if you're going to say percentage-wise, how much of this bike is actually U.S. made as opposed to bringing in all the various pieces that you need?
Unfortunately, there is almost no manufacturing done in the U.S. anymore. But we do deal with U.S. companies. Our biggest supplier is SRAM. They're based in Chicago. Unfortunately, their factories are in Taiwan.
Right.
But we deal with American companies.
Okay.
We deal, SRAM has Avid, RockShox, Travative. We also deal with, who else do we deal with? In the U.S., that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. But the other Asian companies in Taiwan, at least they have a presence in the U.S. We deal with some companies like HL Corp and Promax. They have offices in Southern California. So we try to maintain that. Now, all our designs, all the work is done in Florida.
Okay.
All the engineering, everything gets done in Florida. And then we manufacture, we invested in a small company in China that and in Taiwan that manufacture our frames.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
Yeah. So we have that investment over there. And also one of our models, the actual frame is hand welded here in the US, in Seattle. And it's called Volcanic.
Okay.
And they were catering mostly to the police bicycles through the US, and we used that frame, and we came out with the Scorpion this year.
Okay.
So that bike is truly made in the U.S.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So you've got how many different models that you offer?
Right now we have 23. Okay. 23 different models in about 9 different frames. So we got 9 frames that they spin off to 23 models.
Okay. So you've got a facility where you actually, so all these parts come in, I'm assuming, shipping containers,
yes.
box and things.
Yes.
At which point then you take and you do the assembly there.
We do the fully assembly in our new facility, 60,000 square feet in Oakland Park, Florida, which is very close to Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
We have about 50 to 55 employees. We always rotate. About 35 are dedicated to the assembly of the bikes, and we have different stations that we start the pre-assemblies when we invested in Holland Mechanics robotics machines.
Right.
So we do all the building of the rims and truing of the rims through machines.
Okay.
Then we have sub-assemblies for the handlebars, for the suspension forks, with the brakes and so forth. And then it goes to the main floor where we have 64 different stations that we can build 64 bikes in one shift per day with one person per line. So we have 8 lines. 8 lines, 8 stations per person. So, and then after that, we have 4 electric stations where we do all the adjusting of the bikes. Brakes are adjusted, derailleurs are adjusted, everything gets torqued because all the bikes ship fully assembled. They're about 97% assembled. So when either the dealer gets it or the end user gets it, they pop up the box and all they got to do is install the handlebar. Everything else is done.
Okay, so you're capable of turning out at least 64? At
least 64 bikes at full capacity, and add in a couple more shifts and add in more people. The full capacity of the place is about 300 bikes per day.
Okay, so let's talk about the industry per se.
Yes.
You were just telling me earlier that you were over in Europe.
Yes.
And you're at the Eurobike show over there, and that show was predominantly now electric bicycles. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it was a great experience for us. It was the first time we went and we actually had a booth. So we exhibited there. It's just amazing how far ahead Europe is in the e-bike industry. I want to say 65 to 70% of the whole show, e-bike presence was there. The big brands had e-bikes. The test track was only e-bikes. You go and ride around the town, all e-bikes in the streets. So it's amazing the culture over there.
That was Friedrichshafen.
Yes, yes. We stayed about 65 kilometers to the north. So our commute every day was a little over an hour. And all throughout those small towns through the lake, all bikes, e-bikes, you know. So that's what I think is lacking in the U.S. is that culture change. And I think it's happening right now with the millennials, that they're not interested anymore in buying cars. They're getting older and older before they get a car. And now suburban America is shrinking and the cities are getting bigger again. And I believe that is the target. If we want the industry to increase here in the U.S., is to go after the millennials, you know, go after the younger guys. And that's why we try to cater with our models. The way they look, the way they feel, the way they ride, the power that they have is for those guys to embrace them, you know, and not feel like this is just for the baby boomer, that this is for someone that is old. You know, this should be for everybody, whether it's for transportation, for leisure, whatever you name it, you know, but it starts from young people. And that's what we believe, you know.
So of the brands that you have, what do you see that excites the most interest? What moves that particular demographic, the millennials?
Fun, power, muscle. America was built in muscle, you know. We want bigger, better, bad, you know. That's why our Outlaw models are one of the most popular ones, because they have this feel of a downhill motorcycle, you know. And it's very beefy, powerful, 750 watts, 48 volt, 12 amp battery, you know, so it gives you at least 25 miles on a charge. So that is what, you know, what makes these guys feel, oh, this is not boring, this is fun, you know. And that's what I think we need to turn the tide here. But it's getting better, I see it as more people exhibiting bikes. The quality of the bikes are getting better throughout. Pricing, I think, still is a major turnoff because most e-bikes are being priced at possibly $3,000 and up, you know. And for a millennium, that's out of their price range, you know.
They might as well go buy a car.
Yes. So we started our bikes when we started about $1,000 retail. Now the lowest price that we have is $1,299. Our average price of e-bikes is about $1,800. So we still are able to offer dealers now anywhere between 35 to 40%. So
where do you see the technology going? I mean, what excites you most about improving motors, improving batteries?
Communication. It's all about social media now. It's all about having your information on your fingertips. And that's what I saw in Germany. It seems like the technology is pretty much stable. It is what it is, you know, with the motors and the batteries. Obviously, the batteries are getting better, smaller, lighter with those 1865 cells. But now it's all about the BMS boards, what they can do. You know, plug in your phone and give you the information that you want right there and then.
Right.
You know, how many miles did you go? Where did you go? How's your battery doing? You know, when did you charge it? When you should charge it? All that is very important, I guess, because people want information now, you know. And so I think that is a new trend going forward. It's smarter bikes.
Right. Okay.
You know?
So that would be integrated into some type of Bluetooth
Correct.
feature.
Correct.
That it displays on their smartphone.
Correct.
App,
And that's what we're going after ourselves. Instead of having extra wiring, extra things on the front that makes it sometimes non-bike shop friendly,
right,
because they get intimidated with a lot of cables, a lot of wires.
Right. Yeah.
So we're going after that. We're going to do a Bluetooth BMS board to be able to communicate with your smartphone. So you plug in your smartphone
right,
on a case, and that's it. It's
right,
Bluetooth. You know,
right, hook it up.
Less wiring, less complicated. You know.
Okay. Let's talk about the boomer generation.
Yes.
What do you have that attracts them, or is that a market you're really that interested in?
We have a model called the Stride. It's a step-through. It is fun. We see it. It's probably our #2 seller.
Okay.
And
being number one.
Number one, and the X2, the Phantom X2, which is a folding full-size frame,
okay,
and the Stride are right neck and neck,
right,
on second place. But the Stride is for the baby boomers, for rentals, and it's perfect because you can go in and out of the bike really easily, and it's got a very comfortable seating position, you know. We have it in different versions. The guys that get used to it want the more powerful motors, like a 500 watt,
right,
but we started at 250 watt, and actually that's a step through that is folder as well.
okay,
So it has a hinge in the bottom of the frame,
right,
so it makes it okay for them to store it if they have a small car or a small place. So it's perfect.
okay,
And then we came out with also the Mariner models that are a 20-incher. It was designed for for the marine industry,
right,
for yachting. You know, West Marine is one of our dealers,
right,
and but that's good also for the baby movers because it's a low bar,
right,
and it's fully adjustable. Even a 6'6" 6" person will ride it comfortably because the handlebar adjusts up and down, and so does the seat. So, but it makes it a fun ride. We get a lot of letters from happy customers saying, "You changed my life.
right,
I'm able to ride a bike after 20 years of not being able to ride a bike."
right, right.
You know, and now it's fun again. You know,
Yeah.
and the great thing about e-bikes right now is that people don't realize, especially for the enthusiasts that don't believe in e-bikes, is that you get probably a better and safer workout with an e-bike, because next thing you know, you're pedaling. When you get tired, you hit the throttle.
Right.
You know, next thing you know, you're building that stamina, and you're pedaling more and more and exercising more and more.
Right.
So people don't realize that.
So where do you see the future for your company here? More models, more interconnection?
We are
Production?
bigger production for sure. We see that year over year, it's increasing. The first year, within 6 months, we sold 1,000 bikes. We're close to the 7,000-8,000 mark right now. So
Okay.
for 2015, we're shooting for 12 to 15,000 bikes.
Okay.
So
like you produced.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And now with this facility, we're able to do so. Last year, that was our biggest problem. We couldn't produce
Right.
fast enough for the demand that we had. And now we utilize the winter to build our buffer that we need for the summer.
Right.
So that's when our busy season starts for building bikes right now, right after Interbike. We build through the winter. We try to accommodate the holiday sales.
Right.
Then everybody's pretty much dead because of the winter,
Right.
but we keep on building,
Right.
you know.
Your biggest headache?
Biggest headache is the glitches that sometimes we have with logistics, bringing the products in.
Right.
Sometimes we're trying to educate because the majority of the dealers are e-bike shops, not bike shops. We're trying to increase that, but they don't understand forecasting yet. So if they don't forecast to us, it's hard for us to forecast.
You forecast, right.
So sometimes that's what we have the problem.
Right.
Now, Since we're fairly new, first bikes came in 2010. It's only been 4 years. We're just now pulling up the infrastructure that we needed. We never had a sales department until maybe 5 months ago.
Right.
Everything was incoming.
Yeah.
The only event that we did was Interbike, and everybody called us from Interbike and became our dealers.
Right.
So we never went out there and called. Now we have that infrastructure. Now we have a customer service department. That was our Achilles tendon. Incoming calls, how do we service them quickly and effectively? And now we're doing that.
Right.
So those are the basic 3 hurdles, the logistics, the customer service, and now go out there and increase the quantity of bikes that we produce. Is because we need to get those sales and we need to be out there selling the bikes.
Do you see the independent bicycle dealers starting to sort of more come around to accepting this technology?
We've changed our model a little bit this year, and we wanted to go after the independent reps, those guys that have been on the streets for the last 20 to 30 years.
Right.
We signed up about 6 months ago, Frank Israel. He's been in the industry for 30 years. He's a South Florida guy. He was very cautious with us at the beginning because he didn't know who we were. He went and visited us. He saw what we're doing. He was hooked. Within 2-3 months, he signed up 12 dealers.
Okay.
And now,
all sort of
South Florida, all the way up to Tampa area,
okay.
Port St. Lucie, the Keys, and Puerto Rico.
Right. Okay.
So now that he is a true believer, we've signed up 22 independent reps through the U.S. that they just signed up here at Interbike.
Right.
So now, starting right after, thank you. So after the show, we got these guys, these olders, representing the brand that understand the IBD industry to try to get them on board right now.
Right. Right.
So that's the first entry.
Right.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys know what it takes. They know those people that buy the bikes. And they understand
There's sort of a minimum requirement. They go into a local, Chuck's bicycle shop, and they say, you need to order a dozen bikes.
What we do, since we're not trying to push our bikes because we want them to sell the bikes, and we don't want them to go on a limb and invest a lot of money, we only try to say that they need to order 4 bikes, 1 pallet's one, and for them to see it by themselves that the bikes sell. And for the most part, every time a dealer gets their bikes, they sell them right away, and they're ordering again or ordering again. So 4 bikes is the minimum. Right. We don't want to tell someone buy 20 bikes and then going to sit on them for months. We don't do that. Yeah. We understand their problems. We understand that sometimes they don't have the buying power, but we want them to go on board. We need those guys to service the bikes as well.
Do you provide any kind of economic incentive, some type of...
We are going to in 2015 in November. We're changing some of the technology that we're using. We're switching our batteries to Samsung. So they're going to make the bikes lighter. Okay. And the battery packs are going to be now in the down tube instead of the rear.
Right.
And
be better balanced.
Yes. So we're increasing the prices of the bike a little bit more to be able to offer the 40%, and in most cases even offer free shipping. At a later time, we're debating whether to try to put a rebate program that if they hit certain goals, that they can attain those rebates.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, you've been extremely generous with your time.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.